will send these keywords to the policeman, and they will arrest. If you make some things they don't like, they will send the policeman directly to your home, take you to the detention center. That's happen every day in China, In Beijing, in Shanghai, if you writing something on the website is not public speech, it's impossible to make public speech in big city of China, If you writing something on website that I'm against the Chinese Communist Party, 2 hours later, policeman will send to your homes, take you into the detention center. And after that, besides, you get guilty. You have to go to the jail for 5 years. 5 years. Can you understand? You excuse your freedom of speech, but you get 5 years in prison sentence.
Is it true? I see on the internet, on X and everything, people who don't comply with the postal ID or they do too many bad things, they have no access to food and travel and end up homeless. Is that true?
I tell you that in China they use a mobile phone ID, and in the global pandemic, you must scan every you have the barcode. When you go to the train, you have to scan your barcode. When you go to the shopping, you must scan your barcode. When you go outside of your community, they have the gate. You have to scan your barcode. If you are not, your barcode was locked. You are locked. Your house arrested. You cannot go outside of your community. You cannot go to the buy the food. You cannot buy the tickets for train. You cannot buy the tickets for bus. You was house arrested. That is
giving all praise to Yahweh Bashim, Yahweh Shah Bashim, Howard Hakodash, and double honors to our apostles and elders, every great millstone, peace and blessings to the Lord's hopefully elect. This channel is called Actual Coverage. Digital ID, the video, Digital ID, a grave warning from a Chinese exile. And he's explaining what's it's like over there in the land of China right now, and how if the Chinese Communist Party, they do surveillance and they monitor everyone and everything that's said online, and they will oppress you for your speech. And there are testimonies of exiles, of people in that land right now that are considered hostages, where they revoke their passports, they're not allowed to leave the country or whatever. And it's all because they said something online against the government. Now, he's sounding the alarm because they're talking about digital ID. Everybody can see that the mark of the beast is on its way. And these people are trying to take it into their own hands to come against it. But we know that prophecy says that it's going to happen up to a point before the Lord destroys this man. Nevertheless, this is going to cause uproars of the people, which is prophecy as well. So we are living in the end of times, the end of days. You will see this happen in your lifetime. Don't listen to these devils when they talk about something about 2027, about 2030. I mean, you can listen to it. That shows you how close they are. But don't take that as, okay, well, we got 5 years to try to fight this. We got 2 years to try to fight this. This devil, he has to make these things happen right now, because he's getting far too much exposure. And Esau, Edom, the wicked elite, the left hand, their power is secrecy. Their power is the darkness, the sleight of hand. For this to succeed for them in their eyes, they have to blindside the people. They have to surprise the people with because that's what the devil does, with the deception and the benefits and the convenience of taking a microchip and surrendering your freedom and your privacy to the international bankers. No more privacy. They have to first deceive the people, sell them the convenience, give them their sales pitch to get as many as they possibly can to fall in line willingly. And then eventually they will resort to force. Force is always going to be their last go-to. But because of the exposure that they're getting, they have to move things much, much faster. So it's just like when Trump passed that big, beautiful bill. In that bill, to my knowledge, everything wasn't even supposed to go into effect till 2026 of next year. It was talking about the budget for 2026. But what happened immediately after? That's when all the cuts happened, right then and there. Right now, actually. It's still happening right now. The UK, they said they want to roll out the digital ID before the end of their parliament, which is 2029, but that's already in effect right now. And they're already talking about making that mandatory over there in April, and I believe something in January is supposed to happen. When you understand your enemy and you understand his position, you have to understand that he doesn't have time to just let things take its course normally. He has to try to put his foot on the pedal, which is really Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai speeding things up, because he knows that his days are short, so he has to make this happen now. All of this exposure, it weakens his sleight of hand, it weakens his strength. So he has to move things and do things quick. That's why Trump's doing things quick. That's why the gates of hell is doing things quick. That's why the Israelis, they're doing things quick. They're moving quick to try to censor. They want to censor TikTok. They want to censor this. Now they just put up that Twitter for now is going to stop translating Hebrew posts to English. So they want to do these things in secret, and they don't want people to see or know what it is that they're doing. They don't want you to be able to translate or see what they're doing. This is what this devil's doing around the clock. He doesn't rest. He's not resting. So this thing is going to happen real soon. I'm going to let this guy continue to talk, but he's telling you that basically China right now is running basically what's soon to be happening in America and all 4 parts of the earth, which is complete control over you. And what I'm just going to show you is that in the scriptures, this is referred to as the image of the beast, which is what they're trying to establish, which just mirrors what the Roman Empire system had already established with their citizen and how they had them in slavery.
Chinese Communist Party take control of the people. That is, they control of the freedom of movement. It's not only freedom of speech or freedom of publication. Most of the Chinese people, they are slave labor. They are slave labor. You know, can you imagine that? Those people today, those people suffering is related with your future. In the futures, Chinese Communist Party already destroy your industry, destroy your manufacturing capability, and they will take over your government. They will copy dictatorship and totalitarian regime to your countries, put your children, your grandchildren into the concentration camp. Put your children and grandchildren become slave labor for Chinese Communist Party. Slave labor. Your children and your grandchildren.
Is that what happens to them? So, like, are they homeless in China? Do they end up homeless, or do they pick them and take them to jail?
I tell you that in China there is no homeless already. Jesus. Homeless in the 10 years before in Beijing, 2008. I know that I live in Beijing before 2008. But 2008, you know, China had the Olympic game, right? Do you remember that 2012 is the London Olympic game? 2008 is Beijing Olympic game. You know, before Olympic game, all the homeless was arrested and secretly put in the detention center. And Chinese Communist Party feed them poison food, make them die soon, because they think those homeless on the street is damaging their image of the Chinese Communist Party. They don't want the international visitors. They don't want the athletes coming from other countries to see there is so many homeless living in.
And didn't Trump make being homeless illegal? And then he formed those detention centers to try to put the homeless somewhere, which is going to be what? Slave labor, detention centers. And he's talking about what? They're always talking about what? Depopulation. So what's happening in China right now is just a mirror of what's eventually going to happen to the West and the whole world. And then, you know, when you read the scriptures, you find out that Esau and Moab have always had an agreement. That's why they do today. You know, I personally don't really pay that much attention when you hear things about the Chinese leader going at it with America, because really in the scriptures, the big nations is mentioned is going to be Russia, Iran, Turkey, and those are the main 3. You know what I'm saying? And those countries eventually are going to form an alliance. You know, because you got Egypt, you got Ethiopia, Libya, those countries, but they're really under the banner of Russia. Those, according to prophecy, those are the countries that's going to really lead to World War III. So when I hear about, North Korea or the Chinese government going back and forth, it is what it is. But at the end of the day, America will never cut off truly its ties with China. They may have a little trade war, which might affect the poor, but it's only going to affect the poor. Okay. But I don't believe they're going to get to a point where they just cut off all ties, or when they act like they're in opposition. Really, they're working together. They're working together because China needs, even though everything in America is imported, as Revelation 18 tells you, that America is the reason why these other countries can do what they do, because America is the main buyer. So they're in league, they're in agreement. They may have some bump heads every now and then because they're two fucking heathens, proud as heathens, Esau being the worst. They have an agreement to, they've always had an agreement in the scriptures to work together, especially against the Israelites.
Strange, but they don't pay them food. Yeah, they put those homeless into detention center, and they feed them poison food. They poison them and let them die. There is not China makes the homeless become rich. They never become rich. They go to hell.
What would you say
They
to people?
go
What
to
would you
hell.
say? So what would you say to people in the West who are now being told that we're going to have digital ID? It's for your convenience and safety. What would you tell people to the West who think it's okay?
I tell that refuse digital ID. Digital ID is very terrible things, That is the ruling model of the Chinese Communist Party. Your government was persuaded or influenced by the Chinese Communist Party. They want to copy the totalitarian
Western governments collaborating with the Chinese Communists.
Yes, some, in the past 40 years, your politicians make a big mistake. This made the big mistake, but they have to collaborate with the Chinese Communist Party. Why? Because your supply chain is already dependent on the Chinese Communist Party. Your bus, your clothes, your jeans, your phone, your telecommunication infrastructure, equipment, those sensors is made in China as well.
So he's sounding an alarm that eventually America will mirror that of the Chinese. But America, as well as NATO, America being the whore, she's going to lead in the official New World Order international bank. Because at the end of the day, these Edomites, these international bankers, these so-called Jews, they want to be the ones to be God on the earth. And as Revelation 18 tell you, the other nations, the ones who are in trade in bed with her, as long as they get a piece of it, they want their piece, right? That's why they have always had agreement to make business. They made a lot of business. They come over here. Esau lets them come over here. Can't speak a lick of English, but they can shut up shops and sell wig shops to our people. They can come over here and sell cheap liquor, all these things. Get gas stations. This is other nations that have agreement with Esau, Edom, Ishmael, and they have an agreement with. Have you ever seen a so-called black or Latino-owned gas station? Why, getting gas and fuel and petroleum, all of that, they keep out of our hands. They have an agreement. That's why behind it, our people, they never taught our people how to do that or how to get into that. They'll restrict you from doing that because then that's power. They have an agreement to come over here and make business off of us. You understand? But according to the prophecy, it's going to be America that's going to lead in the New World Order. In America, because the beast is NATO. However, America is the whore that sits on the beast. So yeah, it may be starting in the EU, which is a part of NATO, but it eventually come to America. So slavery in ancient Rome. Slavery in ancient Rome. It doesn't show, but it's saying here, it says, what is this object? And I'm going to pull up the object real quick. But it's this tag right here. This is a tag. This is a Roman tag for their slaves with words inscripted on it. Okay, this was a tag that they had put over the slaves on their necks, right? And then it has a text on it. Here's what it says. It says, although seemingly just a small inscribed plate, this object tells a dark and troubling story from the heart of the Roman Empire. Found in Rome and dated in the 4th century AD, it is a tag for a human. Attached to a metal collar, an enslaved person was forced to wear it. In Latin, inscription reads, Teni me ne fuga et revoca me ad dominum vivientium in aria calisti, which translate, hold me lest I flee, and return me to my master, Viventius, on the estate of Callistus. So the object is part of a series of inscribed collars with or without tags found in both Italy, particularly in Rome and North Africa. These collars, revetted, not so easily removed, were used to deter slave people from escaping and to help their recapture should they try. The words on this tag and others are variations of hold me and return me, with instructions on how to return the fugitive. Some of the inscriptions also included statements giving details about the wearer and the master, occasionally even offering a reward. So what they would do is they would tag these people. They would tag them, and they would make it virtually impossible to remove. And if you tried to run, then if somebody found you, they'll know who to send you back to. Slavery. Now you know where I'm going with this, so you know where we're going with this. This tag is coming back. They want to tag each and every one of you, each and every one of us. This is the image of the beast, and then that tag is going to be what? The mark of the beast, the digital mark, which is going to be that RFID microchip that they want to embed in your body, under your skin, with a barcode numbering you. And with the system, with the infrastructure that they're looking to establish now, they can enslave you by way of digital. Just like you heard what that man was saying, how during the COVID or pandemic, over there, you couldn't get on a bus, you couldn't do nothing. They wanted to keep you at home. This is how they kept you at home. And they introduced these systems and mechanisms as an excuse to say it's for your safety. But once they're in place, now they have complete control over you. This is why they're uproars of the people, because they can see it coming. This is why Esau Edom is going to move much faster, because everybody is catching on to his agenda. Because he truly believed that by the time he brought this forward, he would be able to deceive the people and sneak it upon them and surprise them. But now the Lord is uplifting their skirt. So since they're being more exposed, they have less power, so they have to move much faster. So this tag is coming back. That tag is what they want to inbrand under your skin to mark you and tag you. And this was seen by the prophet John the Revelator, and he wrote about it in the book of Revelation. He wrote what he saw. You're not going to find microchip or RFID chip in the scripture. He wrote what he saw, and he described it in his own language as of what he saw. And through the Holy Spirit, we now have understanding as of what it is that he saw. And our apostles and elders since the 90s have been telling people that that's going to be a RFID microchip that they're going to use to try to implant under your skin. This is well before there was even an RFID tag. This is well before there was scan by your palm, scan by your phone. This is well before you go from a chip. This is well before we've had the technology where, like, you can go and look up what the first megabyte was. The first megabyte looked like a dang computer. That's how big it was, just for a megabyte. And then now you can get a terabyte, which they said that you couldn't even fit so much memory. You couldn't even fit your whole life on there. You can get a terabyte for the size of a coin. That's how much a little small chip, terabyte of memory can hold that much. This is how far advanced of technology we've come. Now that was well before, they was teaching that well before we even got to this point. That's how you know the Spirit revealed it. So Revelation 13 verse 15, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. The image of the beast is the Roman Empire system back in full effect. This is how they operated. Now, today, in modern terms, you can call it the New World Order. People understand that because that's the modern word for it, but it's really just a reflection of the Roman Empire system in full effect. That's what they revert back to. They reverted back to the power of the beast before them, which was the Roman Empire. They basically said we just go back to our old roots, which is the Roman Empire system, but a more technological, you know what I'm trying to say, a more advanced society with technology. Okay, and it's even on their American dollar. When they printed their Federal Reserve dollar, it's on the back of the dollar. Okay, our out of many one, meaning one, that's what that eye represents, the all-seeing eye. And it says what? New World Order. Novius. Let me pull up the Greek words. And they are written in Latin. So it's where's the words? Okay. It's Anut Coeptus, meaning God has favored our undertaking or their enterprise. And it says Novus Ordo Seclorum, meaning New World Order for the ages. And E Pluribus Unum, out of many one. All of this is what they've been already announced what they want to do. This is them trying to pull it in full effect. So if you just know, if you think New World Order, you're really saying the image of the beast. But to be specific, it's the reflection of the Roman Empire system back in full effect. Verse 16, and he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. And what is that mark? What word did John the Revelator use to describe what he saw through his vision? He used the word charagma, which means in a thing carved, okay, a stamp, an imprinted mark like a stamp, just like they did to the slaves. They branded the slaves. We did that to our cattle. That's how you know what cattle they belong to. The Roman Empire system, they tagged their slaves. They want to do it again this time, but how? What? Digitally. They want to insert it in your body and you be their slave forever. That's why they want to get people stuck on the allowance of the EBT, so that now you will be conditioned to accept an allowance each month, but it's going to come with restrictions. You've been to the grocery store once, you try to go back, nope, you went too many times this week. You only get to go once a week. And by the way, you bought too much meat, so we need to reduce your amount of meat. All that stuff is control. Then they want to give you lab-grown meat. They don't want to give you the real thing. This is what they're doing. The prophet John saw it, and he's writing what he saw, and he's describing it the way he saw. So to understand one is to understand the other. It says, of the mark stamped on the forehead or right hand of the badge of the followers of the anti-Messiah, a mark branded upon horses. So it's actually an physical insertion. It's not spiritual. To understand the image, to understand the mark, you must understand the image. And to understand the image is to understand the mark. The image is the you could say the system, the compliance, the Roman Empire system. The everybody needs to be on board with the new way of living. The new way of living, which means everything's monitored. There is no privacy. You're not allowed to just say whatever you want on the internet anymore. You really don't have freedom of speech. You need to be punished. All this stuff, the complete taking away of the freedom and control. You know, when we say everybody needs to take a jab, everybody needs to fall in line, herd-like mentality. If you don't take it, you should be ostracized from society. That's everything in it. And you have people that's going to agree with the system. Some people will, because they're going to be deceived. But that's the image. And then you understand the mark, because the mark is going to solidify the image. The mark is going to show that you truly bow, right? That's what that means. And it's happening in real time. They want to digitally mark you and digitally tag all of you. Digitally, as in everything's on a database. but it's going to be physically inserted in you. All right, you have some Israelites that want to teach that the image of the beast and the mark is all spiritual. It's Christianity, just what you believe. No, those are lies, because what they basically aren't telling you is that you're going to be met with a decision real soon, that if you're going to take that mark, that microchip or not. And what we're here to tell you is that this is what John the Revelator saw. This is what he's prophesied, and it's coming to life as we speak, as right now. So now you know what to look forward to, and understand that this is the truth of the matter, meaning you will see the Lord in your days. This is going to happen, so you have to prepare yourself spiritually, because pretty soon we're all going to have to be going in faith, because we're all about to be basically treated like him, ostracized from society, a target, wanting to be grabbed up, put in concentration camps, try to poison us, try to kill us. That's literally what it says. Who will not worship the image of the beast should be killed. We're all basically about to be in his shoes real soon. But we have Yahweh Shai on our side. Shalom.